to renovating number 5. Follow us on our journey through the highs and lows of renovating our new adventure. Okay, so we're in the little bedroom and I've stripped the wallpaper, and it's amazing what wallpaper can hide. There is the obvious little nips and scrapes over the years. It's an old house, so it is going to have lots of little dinks. There's mould, but you know, that's okay, that can be treated. There's a small issue with the windowsill. Not quite sure why it's about ½ inch away from the wall this end, but perfect on that side. It's weird. And the window frame doesn't quite fit the wall on this side. There's a little bit of, I think that could be just where the wall is bowed, because you can sort of see there's a crack there. And that's because it's old-fashioned horsehair plaster and it doesn't like damp. And therefore that could be the issue for that. There's a big case of mould in that corner. Mould's not too much of a problem that I'm worried about. This is where we blocked up the door from going in, because this was the original door going into the bedroom 4. So this is where we blocked it up, and that's now the ensuite. Now, there's a few little cracks of the doors. That's fine, that's normal. And it's when you get to this bit down the bottom. Yep. Yes, that's a serious case of mould, which, yep, okay, that's not too much of a problem. This isn't even attached, but you can see that's the skirting just crumbling away. And if I can pull it off, it's not even really attached. It's not any effort at all to rip that off. And you can see the amount of damage. I don't really want to pull the wallpaper off, the wall off, but there's serious damage there. And if you can see down there, all that's rotten away as well. And that means all this has to be replaced, which means I'm going to have to take this wall down, or plaster it off. Let's have over. That's the skirting, where it's all rotten away. Oh, and that's the floor. That's part of the flooring. That will be the. I might have to pull the carpet up now to see how bad that is. Right, so I've pulled the rest of some more plaster off the wall, and it doesn't actually look that bad. It looks a lot worse than it is. It's obviously a bit of an old gnarly bit of wood, but look, it's actually quite solid. So it looks worse than it really is. So it's not going to need replacing. There's a really big bit of hardwood, so, and it's solid. Same with this. It has a little bit of surface, bit of rot, but generally the whole piece is pretty solid. And the same with this in the corner. Maybe stuff. It's just generally, I think it's just dirt and it's an old bit of wood. And with the crossbeam, you can't quite see it very well, but I have managed to, I scraped off the bit that obviously was a bit gone, rotten, but I managed to get my hand right underneath, and you can feel it's actually a solid bit of hardwood. So even though it has obviously had a little bit of rot at some point from where the water's gone through, it hasn't eaten away the whole piece of wood, and so it is only a little bit of surface, so it's actually not actually bad as I thought. So it's actually okay. So the wood can stay, we don't have to replace anything. The only thing we will need to do obviously is replace this board, because that's rotten all the way along. We are going to carpet it down, so it doesn't really matter what it gets replaced with, as long as it's the same thickness, it won't matter. But
using the Recipro saw, I cut out a section of the floor plank and I traced the shape out onto a new piece of wood so it wouldn't fit nice and snug. Once it's cut to length, Andy uses a circular saw to trim the piece of wood to the correct width, and then all that needs doing is nailing into position. I've read lots of comments, how do you repair a hole in plasterboard? Well, I start with measuring the dimensions of the hole and transferring that to an off-cut piece of plasterboard. I always use a straight edge to draw a line between the pencil marks. Then using a standing knife, score along the line. Carefully snap along the cut mark, then run the standing knife along the other side of the board. Rub the Stanley knife along the cut line to smooth out any high points and push the plasterboard into place. Make sure before you put the plasterboard in place to mark the upright post on the wall. Using plasterboard adhesive, put a blob on each post. Now you can probably see I'm using spacers on mine. This is because the old hardwood is imperial and the new is in metric, and I need to pack out the difference in size or the plasterboard will bow in places. Tack the board in place using plasterboard nails or use plasterboard screws depending on what you're nailing into. The hardwood is just too hard for nails, so we have to resort to screws. Whichever you choose, make sure that they are set back into the plasterboard. Cover the joints with plasterboard tape and then plaster over using joint compound plaster. And yes, I agree, I should have treated the mould before I plastered the wall. Once the plaster is dry, give it a quick rub down and it should be ready to paint. We did a quick undercoat of paint on the bedroom walls, but if you can see, the paint has had a bad reaction to whatever was previously on the walls. I'm not sure what might have caused the reaction, possibly the wallpaper adhesive or something that they had painted on the walls to deal with the damp. Either way, it has made our day a little more challenging, as now I have to sand all the walls down and repaint it again. So while I get on with that, Andy fits the skirting boards. We give the walls a quick wipe down with a damp cloth before giving it another coat. Now for a quick paint job on the skirting boards to finish. Ta-da! The room is all now finished. The doorway in the main bedroom has now disappeared, along with a repair to the water-damaged wall. We had some carpet installed and I've made some curtains. Next time on Renovating Number 5, we make our tired old cladding into a feature in the sunroom. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share.